Hello, I'm Terry Kolath. I manage the Academy of Lifelong Learning, and we're having a mini class again with Doug Heatherly, our resident astronomer who lives in Royal Bonnet. Thanks for joining me for Sky Talk.
Glad to be here today.
Well, we've really all been focused on the sky, celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Apollo moon landing. That must have been pretty exciting for somebody in your field.
Oh, I think it was exciting for everybody.
Absolutely.
Everyone that had a chance, and you know, it was, what, 500 million people apparently watched the landing live. Actually, it is something that triggered a whole generation, I think, of scientists, obviously, but quite a remarkable feat.
Amazing.
And the more we look back about it, is more I think we can appreciate the tremendous effort that people put in to make that happen.
And we certainly are having a renewed interest in the moon.
Sure we are.
So tell us a little bit about.
Well, I think of night sky, naked eye objects to look at. Obviously the moon is a dominant feature in the sky, and it probably is good if we learn some of the major features of the moon. And one of the major features is the Sea of Tranquility, where Apollo 11 and some of the other Apollo missions actually landed. It was on the Sea of Tranquility. So if you get a map of the moon, and you can find them on the internet, but if you get a map of the moon, you can find where these landings actually occurred. And I think it's interesting just to be able to put a name to a portion of the moon and say, okay, well, that's where man actually walked.
Amazing.
It is amazing. It really
and the
is.
Sea of Tranquility, it sounds kind of like if you're having trouble sleeping.
Right.
Go out and look at the Sea of Tranquility.
There you go.
And you're going to show us.
And in ancient times, you know, the names, a lot of times the names came because, you know, it appeared to be maybe an ocean, and people didn't know what it was. And so it got names of seas, you know, and so Sea of Tranquility, yes.
Wonderful. And what a place to aim for.
That's exactly
with our
right.
first landing and
Exactly right.
first walk.
But I think when you look at it, the actual landing area was very near the equator, about the midpoint of the moon, and right on the edge of the Sea of Tranquility. So it's really quite fascinating.
So it'll be easier to find.
You can find that, yeah, I mean, visually what you're going to see is the general area where they're at. Obviously you can't see the landing, but you can see the general area, and you can identify the Sea of Tranquility.
Wonderful. Well, what else is happening in the month of August?
Well, the month of August is actually known largely for a major meteor shower. And the meteor shower is called the Perseids, okay? And this is the remnants of the comet Swift-Tuttle, okay? It comes up, maybe every 130 or 40 years or something like that. It actually comes in near the sun, crosses the Earth's orbit, and leaves a debris field. So that long tail that we see from comets often has little pieces of rock and sand and whatever from the comet. So as it goes around, but the Swift-Tuttle comet was named by two astronomers in the 1800s, but they have actually tracked it back and have found evidence of its orbit back maybe 2,000 years. So this one comes periodically, and it has left this debris field. And actually, what we will do through the month of August, we'll go through several individual debris fields, so it'll be days where you get more meteors, and then days you get, you know, it won't be quite as heavy, and then you'll get more again, and so forth and so on. But it is interesting. And the other thing that's fascinating about the Perseids in particular is they're extremely fast. It's just the way the geometry works between the Earth orbit and where these particles are at. And the relative velocity is like 130,000 miles an hour. Okay, so what we see is the small pebbles essentially vaporizing in the upper atmosphere of the Earth, 50, 60 miles up. And you will tend to see them all radiate from the same general area of the sky.
Okay.
And you can see them literally any time of the night. But the best time, again, is probably early morning hours, okay? And it has to do with the way the orbit of the Earth turns into the comet field, or into the debris fields. And so you tend to see more in the early morning hours, but you know, you might get lucky and see one early in the evening too,
Yeah.
if we didn't have the thunderstorms.
Right. And so they just sort of shoot at us, the shooting stars.
They'll come across the sky very rapidly, obviously, and is vaporizing. Literally, you're not seeing the pebble. What you're seeing is the vapor, kind of a plasma field around where the pebble is coming through, and so there is an area around the pebble.
Like a little aura.
Yeah, and it burn. You know, it just vaporizes it. So.
Fascinating. Well, August is going to be a busy month in the night sky.
It surely is.
And now we have some tools and we know what to look for and we know when to look. Thank you.
You're welcome.